Hey guys, welcome back to the Wally modeling series. Laz is here for Tuts Plus, and in this part, or the next couple of parts, we're going to carry on with modeling the threads, and I went ahead again and modeled probably most of the inner pieces. So here I'll show you what we're going to be creating. So this is probably most of the bits done for the threads. The reason why I modeled most of it, because you're going to use this as a reference, because it's kind of hard, it was kind of hard to figure out what's going on inside this bit according to the references that I had, but it's going to look something like this as the final result. We might go ahead and add some extra details to this piece, but I think we're going to go ahead and leave it as it is. So I'll just turn on the body so you guys can have a look at how it looks like. So I think it looks pretty good. So I haven't done this joint piece that will join the threads to the body. So you're going to go ahead and obviously do that as well. But in the next probably 2, 3, 4 parts maybe, we're going to go ahead and create this inner piece. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the body off. And I'm also going to go ahead and select all these new bits. And it's on the new layer. So I can go ahead and just hide it. So the first thing we're going to start with, I'll just turn on the piece, is this. So this is fairly simple. And I'll just break this down to you guys. So if you wanted to, you could go ahead and model this in your own time. And then whenever you guys get stuck, you can always come back and follow along with the tutorial. Probably one of the most complicated bits is going to be this piece. Well, it's not that complicated, and probably these two pieces are a little bit more complicated as well. Okay, so in this part we're going to go ahead and start creating this piece. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to select all of these. I'm going to go ahead and move these, well, once I group them together, I'm just going to go ahead and move them to the side. Okay, so it's out of the way and we'll only use it as a reference. So let's go ahead and get started with this object. So I'm going to go into our side view, and it's basically this piece here, so we can actually make that out from a reference quite easily. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start off with a cube. So just going to go ahead and drag it from here to about there. Okay, and then go into my front view just to go ahead and give this size. And I can go ahead and hide my threads and move this here just so I get the right size straight away. And if you guys obviously don't have this as a reference, but what you can do is just roughly copy it from, if I quickly show you guys in a minute after I model this. So what I would be doing is basically you just line it up with this reference behind it. Okay, so the first, it starts around here, and then this one starts around here. Okay, so you just roughly get the position from the reference and move it there. So once we have this piece created, we're going to go ahead and add in a couple of extra edge loops to go ahead and add in these pieces. So let's go ahead and get off my edit mesh panel, go to my insert edge loop tool, and we're going to need one around here and here. And we're not going to go ahead and cut this in half and just duplicate it, because this piece is a little bit different. So you're just going to do the whole thing as it is. So I'm going to add one here and here, and then now I can just go into my perspective view, select both of these, go back into my side view, and this is actually not the same same height as it is on the reference. So we're just going to go ahead and extrude this out roughly. I think it's a little bit actually shorter. So once we have them, we can just go ahead into our local scale. And as you can tell, we can go ahead and it's probably going to be local Y, like so. And we'll just scale this in. And go into our side view, and we go ahead and move the vertices around a bit. Okay, and I'm also going to go ahead and move this in a bit more. Same with this, I'm actually going to go ahead and snap it to this point and then go ahead and grab this vertex and pull that in as well. Okay, so you sort of have the outline, and our normals is a bit messed up, so I'm just going to select the object, go to normals and harden edge, and that should sort it out. Okay, so basically the main outline is done. We're just going to have to go ahead and add in this extra piece here. So it's going to be fairly simple to do. Just going to go ahead and add in a loop around here, and we're just going to go ahead and fill that gap in. So we can go ahead and delete these two faces, and we can go ahead and just extrude this one edge, turn down my offset. I'm just going to go ahead and drag this up. Now go ahead and extrude this edge, offset off, W. Okay, and now I'm just going to snap these two together, so merge vertex tool. So I'm going to snap this one to there and that one to there. Now we just got to fill in this hole. So let's go ahead and extrude this edge and that edge as well on the other side. So just select both of them, extrude, offset 0. Use my W just to move it out a little bit. And now I can use my merge vertex tool to snap these to places. Oops, not that one to there, that one to there, that one to there. Okay, so you get a rough outline of this. And it seems like this is a little bit lower, so I'm just going to go ahead and select these vertices and move them down a bit. Select these, move it out a bit. And let me have a look how that looks. It sort of looks something like this. Okay, so that's great. We basically got the outline for this. And now we can go ahead and just add in the extra loops that we need. So let's go ahead and just turn on the threads, so see if it sits at the right place, and it seems to be sitting right. So we can go ahead and turn that off. And now we're just going to go ahead and add in all the edge loops that we need, so we can go ahead and smooth this. So I'm going to need one here, here, and it should be fairly simple for us to add in all these. Okay, so nothing too complicated so far. Let's go ahead and do the top part of this. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We're going to need one around here. And let's go ahead and quickly do the other side as well. Okay, so that should be done. Let's go ahead and smooth this. Just make sure that we haven't missed any. It seems like we have around here. So let's just go ahead and add it in. Let's go ahead and smooth this again. And I'm just going to turn up wireframe for now. Okay, so that looks great. Let's go ahead and turn back on my wireframe just so I can see things a little bit easier. So the next piece that we're going to create is these two little things that basically sort of hold this sort of suspension piece together. So let's go ahead and start creating them. And as you can tell, that's not actually on our reference, but that's alright. We're just going to sort of make it up. I've seen this on a different reference, and it sort of adds extra detail to our piece, so just going to go ahead and do that. And I think we're going to actually go ahead and just well, we'll leave this piece as it is and we just make it up as we go. So let's go ahead and start off with the cube, and I'm just referring back to this for the size. Okay, so it's roughly Alright, so we're actually going to go ahead and just grab the vertices on this one. And we're just going to go ahead and move it down a bit. Somewhere around there. Okay. And now we can go ahead and create our cube or rectangle around here. So it will roughly be this size probably. And then just going to go into my front view again. Just drag out height. Or width, random, and then I'm just going to go ahead and turn off. Well, you can go ahead and add this to a new layer. Well, I will. You guys don't really have to, and I can hide this, and then I can go ahead and just move this to the right place. It's around there, and width-wise it's around here. Okay, so it's nearly as thick as that piece that we just created, but not quite. Okay, so that's great. We got this cube sorted. Just going to turn that back on, go into our side view. I'm just going to go ahead and move this roughly in the right position. So it doesn't actually touch this piece completely, it's fairly close, but it doesn't. And then we can go ahead and use our insert edge loop tool to go ahead and add in a loop here, and go ahead and add in a loop on the bottom as well. I'm just keep referring back to my reference so you sort of get the right proportions. So once we have that, we're just going to go ahead and select these two faces, go back to our side view and go ahead and extrude. And this bottom piece is actually longer than the top one, so we're just going to go ahead and move this out a bit more. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm just going to refer back to my reference again, and now we just basically got to go ahead and smooth this, or it seems like we're going to have to bevel the top bit. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to go ahead and isolate this piece, and we're basically just going to go ahead and bevel this edge. So let's go ahead and select the edge and bevel, a bit more offset, probably an extra segment as well. Not that much, probably around there. Okay, that will look pretty good. Let's go ahead and get rid of these edges, and now we can go ahead and cut through. So you're going to use our interactive split tool to go all the way around quick. So there's that. I need one more. Go around. And let me just see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is still an angle, so just going to go ahead and add in one more. Oops, that goes, freaks out a bit. Okay, so that's great. Now we got, I think this is a quad now, 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. So let's go ahead. And now we can go ahead and add in the loops for this. And you would think it's going to be fairly easy, but it isn't because of this beveled edge. We're just going to have to go ahead and select these, probably these 3, and on the other side as well. Or actually you can go ahead and only do this on one side and duplicate it over. So you're just going to go ahead. It sort of depends on your workflow. I'm going to do it this way. You can do it a different way. You can go ahead and add in the edge loops to both sides. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this side and only do it on one side. So just going to go ahead and select these, go ahead and extrude and give it an offset of probably like if my num lock is on, 0.05. That seems to do the trick. And now I'm just going to go ahead and use my insert edge loop tool around, roughly around there. And now I'm just going to go ahead and merge the vertices. So merge vertex tool. I can also delete the edges, doesn't really make too much difference. So that goes up there, this goes up here, and it goes all the way around here. Just going to go ahead and merge them up to get rid of them. Okay, so we got that. I'm going to go ahead and delete this edge and then select this vertex, and I'm just going to go ahead and snap this up. I'll move that up just a bit to make it a little bit dyed. It really doesn't matter in reality. So once we have that, we're going to go ahead and do this top edge loop as well. So let's go ahead and add in that edge loop in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and snap it here. Oops. Making sure I only got that one selected. Okay, and then just use the interactive split tool to go ahead and connect this up. So now this top ring is done. Let's go ahead and we can actually, let me think about this. Yep. Okay. You can actually sort of go ahead. No, we'll keep that on. Let's go ahead and do this bottom bit. So again, use my insert edge loop tool on this edge, bring it around, and again I'm just trying to line up this dot with that one. So now I'm just going to use my merge vertex tool to go ahead and snap these to get rid of that edge like so, and we actually do need this. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this up, and same with this, just going to do it by eye, move this up a bit. Okay, so that's good. We can now go ahead and get rid of this edge, and we can also go ahead and get rid of that edge, and again go ahead and tidy this up a bit by moving this down and move that down a bit. Okay, so that's great. Now we're just going to connect up the rest of the pieces. So let's go ahead and connect up this edge. So I'm just going to use insert edge loop tool again around here, and I can go ahead and use my interactive split to connect this up. Do the same thing on this side, insert edge loop tool around here, use my interactive split to connect them up, and then here we should be able to just insert an edge loop, and same here. Okay, so it's getting there quite nicely. We should be able to use our insert edge loop all the way around here as well, all the way around here as well, and now we're nearly done. So this way we'll get nice clean mesh. Okay, this edge sort of seems to be quite far off, so I'm just going to go ahead and move this a bit closer to the edge. It's not really going to make too much difference apart from making this edge a little bit sharper, so that will be fine. I'm not going to go crazy on this. Okay, so that's great. I think we added in all the loops. We can check that by smoothing this and seeing how this is going to look. And again, just going to turn off a wireframe. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I like that. Okay, let's go ahead and unsmooth it. And if you're doing the same way as I am, you're just going to have to go ahead and duplicate this and then go to translate x-1. And now I can just go ahead and move this, going to go into my front view and just line these up quite close. Probably that's close enough. Select both of them, go to mesh, combine, and come out of isolation, go back. Sorry, my voice is going. And we can go into my front view, select all of these middle vertices, shift right click, merge vertices, and probably like a 0.01 should do the trick. Let's have a look. If it messed up anything, don't seem like it did. So let's go ahead and make sure that it didn't do anything bad. Select this loop, shift right click, delete edge, see if you get anything freak out, and it hasn't freaked out. So it's great. We can go ahead and smooth this, and basically that piece is done. Okay, so that looks great. Before we go ahead and duplicate it over, we're going to go ahead and just add in these little screws. So it's nothing too fancy really. Just go into our side view, and just to make things easier, just go to modify, make live, and we're going to use a pipe probably around that big. Drag it high. Okay, so now I'm just going to go into the inputs and just slow down my slider so I can give it a little bit better size. Probably around that was fine. Okay, that's great. Just going to go ahead and make this not live. So modify, make not live. And let's go ahead and add in the loops for this, just so it will be smooth. Insert edge loop. Okay. Where have I gone? Here we go. I'm just going to press F so it's easier to move around. Oops. Zoom is freaking out a bit. Okay, so that should be good. Let's go ahead and smooth it. That looks great. Come out of isolation. Move this in. If I manage to pick the right axes. Okay, that's super. Let's go ahead and group these two together. And now we can go ahead and duplicate and then scale. Long thing, this is going to be X actually. It's going to be Z, so Z -1. And I can just go ahead and move this in the right place. In my side view, go to modify, center pivot, just to make things easier. And again, turn back on my wireframe just so you can see what I'm doing a little bit easier. Okay, so that's great. We've basically got this piece created, and this is all we have time in this part. In the next couple of parts, we're going to carry on going from the bottom up. So we're going to go ahead and create this sort of suspension piece, and then move on to these probably a little bit more complicated pieces. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next couple of parts.